It's alive. Okay. Greetings. Are we live?
We should be live.
Yeah, she's live. She's live. I'm not. I guess we can start anytime now.
Hello, everyone. I will be ready in 1 second. We're just getting everything up and running. And
Our Facebook friends.
so, welcome to the Free Zone with T. Nathan, Melinda, and Petra.
Welcome to the Free Zone with
Petra,
Melinda, and T. Nathan.
Okay, so we have gotten a new setup. We have the podcast live now on Free Zone with at podbean.com, and we are live on Facebook, and we will be doing the YouTube video right afterwards, uploading it. And today we will be discussing Houston with the devastation that they are experiencing. 45 and his decisions, and some with that, with 45, it comes to everything that affects every minority community across the board.
That's what they'll be talking about. You all know what I'll be talking about, right?
So,
Okay.
I'm going to let T. Nathan lead it off.
Well, I'm going to obviously leave it off with Texas in general and Houston specifically. Our thoughts and prayers go out to them, and Peaches over here with a live broadcast in my ear. So just join us, and we're going to take a minute of silence for all of those that are going through things down in Houston. Hope all of you all have made contact with your families, and for those who may have lost family members, our hearts and our prayers are with you. Okay, thank you all. Let's jump right into it. Houston. Devastating. Over 50 inches of rain has fallen in Houston from Hurricane Harvey, and it continues to be the storm that keeps giving. So, what are your thoughts on Houston and the way that it's been handled? We don't get into all of that, Joel Osteen and everything.
Well,
But let's just start with, what do you think about the decision not to evacuate?
actually, I was listening to the mayor because, I was going to fault him for it. But then he held a press conference earlier this afternoon where he evacuated for something about 3 months ago, and when they evacuated, over 100 people died during that evacuation. It was for another issue or something. But anyways, he used that as an example to justify not evacuating Houston. He said 100 people died on the roads.
Melinda?
I haven't heard anything about that. But I think that the decision to not evacuate Houston, knowing that Houston, it's got a lot of flooding areas,
Right.
and knowing the massive amounts of rain that the storm was supposed to be bringing, I think
Right.
it was a bad decision in part on the city, on behalf of the city. And I believe that, people should be outraged about that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the fact that this is not the first time Houston is flooded, or the second
Right.
time.
No.
And we go back to 2005 with Hurricane Rita, and you see the massive amount of flooding that happened then. But this was going to be and I guess I'm not listening to the same news reports that everybody else is listening to, because for a week they talked about this storm stalling out over Texas and bringing massive amounts of rain to a concrete jungle. And if you would have taken the time to announce an evacuation much earlier than the last minute,
Right.
That is a good point.
and there are plans in place. I mean, well, I did the math on 600 cars leaving Houston every minute, cutting down, making the highway into Houston also an exit path out of Houston. And it's not like there's only one way in and out of Houston. We could have lessened the amount of rescuing that needed to take place. And there's always going to be a certain class that do not have the financial means to leave. But I think the plan should have been in place to assist those people prior to an event taking place.
Right.
I mean, the coast learned from 2005, you only have to go back farther. We learned from Katrina that these evacuation plans or these designated places should have been set up before the water started rising and not afterwards. You know, Noah got all the animals on the
No, I
front
I can agree with that.
before the flood.
But how do you deal with the point that the mayor made that 100 people died, and I believe it was in 2005 when they did evacuate? You know, did they have the same amount of notice for that, for Rita, as they did this one?
My thing is, like, when did we know? When meteorologists started talking about, and I think one of the problems is that people don't understand what percentages mean and don't understand that it's not a sure thing.
Sure.
But you err on the side of caution. There was going to be massive rain in Houston area. There was no doubt of that. There was no doubt that there was going to be flooding. You have to understand also the water system. We're talking about trillions of gallons of water.
And it's all concrete.
And this is all concrete. And then you have other issues. So just getting the people out, the more people you do get out, the less people you have that are sheltering in place or in the city, the less rescue attempts you have to have in those conditions. If it wouldn't have turned out this bad,
I think
you chalk it up to you learn, but you still err on the side of caution. I believe when
Sure.
the governor said his suggestion was to evacuate, they should have evacuated.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that would have, I mean, I'm looking at the highways, so don't get me wrong, I do see the flooding on the highways and the 10 and all that. And
but you're
yes,
talking
we
with
talk
it
about-
too, because they didn't know last week.
Right.
They didn't know last week. I
Right.
mean, we both talked about this earlier,
Right.
that Houston didn't know that they were going to be hit. They just, in all honesty, I can't defend the mayor on that. Because, I mean, he's like,
I
well,
think
we weren't sure.
Yeah.
Ye-
He's a mayor, not a meteorologist, but I believe that's why you have advisors. I believe it should have been more that people don't. I think
But
people
I-
just don't look at it until it happens to us.
But I think last week, even every tracking of the storm had them going to Houston.
But
I mean, so if you have every track pointing at Houston, playing devil's advocate here, you know, he should have taken, I agree with you, he should have taken the side of caution and evacuate. I mean, he could have, we just left Houston, what, 2 months ago? Or a little
over.
Okay, a little over. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine, like you said, if they were to have reversed all the interstates to point them outward traffic.
Right.
I agree with you. I mean, I think the figure came out to 6.2 million.
Yeah, could have been evacuated.
Could have been
in
evacuated.
40 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's just it's a learning experience. I don't know. I'm not going to fault the mayor totally. I don't know what information he was provided with. So we can always play. I can always play armchair quarterback as long as it's not in the NFL this season. And you know, we can do these things, and we'll talk about them. But my heart really goes out to the victims of this
Yeah.
disaster.
Right.
And maybe we can learn from this going forward how to have less of the casualties. Because regardless if we want to believe in global warming or whatever, we have to accept the fact that in my lifetime, I'm seeing weather patterns that are more devastating than they were before. So whatever the reasoning,
That is
we'll
true.
deal with that later. But right now, we have to deal with what are we going to do to return the favor that Texas did for us during Katrina. And our esteemed governor has decided in his press conference, he was announcing we're going to take a wait and see approach. Port Arthur is underwater, Governor. It's underwater. They need help now. Boats,
Right.
perhaps,
Right.
Well, no, but hang on. But he was worried. The governor met with Vice President Pence today talking about tax deductions. They just announced it on WOX.
Right.
So to me, I don't believe taxes are more important than Houston being underwater receiving help. I mean, I think they could have put this meeting off.
No, I don't believe. No, I disagree. I believe you can multitask. People assume that it takes. It's a stroke of a pen. It's a calling of voice. We didn't expect the governor to be out there rowing a boat.
So
what I expected him to do was to allocate the funds or the manpower to go and help on a Mississippi state level. That. I don't believe he had to cancel the press conference. I believe that, and we should have did this last Friday.
yeah.
Not today. Port Arthur is underwater right now.
Oh yeah.
And they need boats. I was looking at the governor on Good Morning America this morning, talking in the mirror, talking about they need boats and people with boats. What more do you need to wait and see? That was my point.
I know Louisiana jumped on board quick with this.
Yeah, I believe that for the governor of Mississippi, and we know how backwards he is, right? But to say that you want to wait and see approach, that is
correct, Tony.
Is isn't itself terrible? What? I don't even, I'm flabbergasted, right? I don't even know what to say about that.
I mean, I agree, which is why I brought up the point that they announced the tax deductions. I mean, and I understand that they can multitask.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that our governor can or cannot multitask, because I don't know if he can or can't.
We're assuming
We're assuming that he can here, okay?
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, I just don't get why he doesn't send in the National Guard. He doesn't call for assistance to Heather. I mean, Louisiana was on top of this 3 days ago.
Right.
I mean,
And other places.
and other states. I mean,
Right.
Florida was. Matter of fact, I was watching pictures today on social media of people from Florida driving across Alabama and Mississippi going to Texas to help.
And I'm gonna say this and I applaud the effort. We were out yesterday at the parking lot across from Mississippi Power, Island View Casino. We will give you a credit that he sent 2 semis. They provided 2 semis, all the labor, and we volunteered and we helped pack trucks to send to Florida, to Houston and parts of the region. So it's becoming more of individual and companies within the state doing something. I don't want to devalue that. Then it is the state. Mm-hmm. But I also want to announce that if you don't have experience with volunteering in these situations, or you want to help, wait till the storm is past, or wait till some of the flooding is receded if you don't have the experience to be there.
That is good.
Because you don't want to have to go there and be rescued yourself.
Right.
If you want to help right now and you don't have the experience, contact agencies that are providing donations, providing food and clothing, and do what you can and do that. Don't go there and need rescuing once you get there. There's really limited space there. They're experiencing, you'll be staying in the shelter anyway. So if you're not prepared to do all that, please don't go.
They are also having, my friend who is a Texas Ranger was asking for assistance herself because a lot of the gas stations are not open, or if they are open, they do not have gas. So a lot of, you need to be very careful about how much gas you take with you if you do go to Houston to help.
We have Velma. She's in Houston. Hi, Velma. How you doing? I'll read your statement. It says, let me say this. The decision the mayor made was the right one. I have lived here 20 years and the reservoirs were built and not knowing that the city was going to expand the way it did. So now they are working on getting it done. The mayor was on top of it before the storm happened. Velma, I'm going to, you're there. You're on the ground. I watched the video, your live feed from your show, and I'm going to defer to you. You're there. You've been there 20 years, and if that's the statement you're making for your area, then I have no more to say about it. I just want to commend you. I saw your lights were out, so you got power back. But yes, that's what I say. I can be a second string quarterback, or sit on the couch at home being a quarterback and saying what I would have liked to see occur. But at the end, I defer to you. And I also say I just want to see people get the assistance now that they need. I don't believe that playing the blame game. You're right. Whatever the situation was, we learned from it, moved forward. well, let's just get Houston the help it needs now.
Yes.
All right. Also, but we'll take this instance. The ICE, what were they doing? How do you leave 50 families at a bus station at a time when there's a storm coming? And I don't understand that. How does that happen?
And they were in ICE custody, so they leave these 50 families at the bus station. These families are about to go to different parts of the U.S. to be relocated with their families. Excuse me. And they were just left there, pretty much abandoned while they knew that there was a storm, a hurricane, a Category 4 hurricane on their way to that area, and they left them to fend for themselves. Had it not been for a local church that took them in and refuged them, then who knows where these families, what would happen to these
Right. I
families?
mean, who does that? And I was reading the report you were talking about, and it's saying that the Representative Doggett, I believe it was, he told them not to leave them there, and they left them there anyway.
Called them the day before on Thursday
Yeah.
to let them know, hey, don't bring them here, don't leave them here because of this storm. And still on Friday, they proceeded to call back the representative and tell him, oh, they're just going to be here for a short period of time. Well, needless to say, we don't know whether the buses were running at the time when they were left, but we do know that at some point they were stuck and stranded with nowhere to go. And I think that these immigrants that are here, they probably don't know any English. They have no way to communicate with anybody. They have no way to call anybody. And then how do you ask for help in a place you know nothing about?
Right. And what about the Mexican government offering aid and assistance? And when I'm reading this right, it was turned down by 45. If that is horrendous.
Did he respond to that?
That is horrendous because during Hurricane Katrina, the Mexican government came to help in response, right? So and that was allowed, and I believe under President Bush as well, they were like a 3-month period where like there was not going to be any deportations or people being picked up. They were allowed to work. After the work was completed, now the state of Mississippi says, now we're going to round y'all up and get y'all out of here and move out. And so it's so wrong in all kinds of levels. And for President 45 to state that they don't need the help, that's just crazy.
Right. I mean, we need all the help.
Well, I do want to. Did President Trump come out and actually make a statement on that? Because I haven't seen one myself.
I will do the due diligence, like I say, I was, and this is the part that I'm reading the typecast and the headlines, and I'm going to delve more into it. But even to receive any help, I'm glad
I agree with that.
Wall at that time, right? Maybe a hurricane would have took care of that too. But if a country is willing to help in the time of disaster, I think this comes a part where we put aside partisanship, we put aside borders, and we do what's necessary to get people help.
So what you're saying is, as I've been reading on the conservative and the liberal sites, politics don't count during the natural disasters.
No, and they're going to play politics after this because what happened at Superstorm Sandy when the Texas delegates didn't vote on the package, and Chris Christie was on television while the storm is coming ashore talking about that. I believe that's what it's come down to in this country. We've gotten to a place where everything is politicized, and it's all bipartisan political. And so we need to get to the point where we say, hey, we can have these discussions after we help people, after we address these issues, because these are things that make us come together and realize that we are all the same. And if we in that time, if we're fighting, then we're really in trouble.
Yeah, it's a question on that you make. Okay, during these times we come together and realize that we are all human beings, we are all the same. Why can we not learn from these disasters that we are all human beings, we are all the same, so we don't keep repeating the same pattern over?
Because we're not narcissistic presidents. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that? Not narcissistic. Some of us do know. But, it's like, remember we talked about the pirates that was shooting at the ship.
Which was fake, by the way, folks.
But just to get that idealism that, number one, that could even be something that was thought of.
Sure.
But the incidents, that's how some people think in these disasters. I was looking at the ABC report, and the reporter that talked about the looting of the supermarkets. And I felt some kind of way about that. I was feeling like
let's talk about that.
Yeah, why? The food is going to spoil on the shelves. People are hungry, and I understand it's crime, breaking and all that. But this when you have 51 inches of rain in that amount of time, you have flooding, and the insurance company is just going to pay for it anyway. Y'all can say what y'all want about me. But I'm looking at the food was going to spoil anyway. What is the deal with people who are in need taking the food? I mean, I'm not like saying walk down the street with a television, you done took out a Best Buy or something,
Right.
but a supermarket. This is food, water. These are the things you need in these kind of conditions.
Absolutely.
So
Well,
that's
the
how
reason, I was having this conversation last night with a friend on Facebook Live, and he was okay with the grocery stores being broken into. And I was like, okay, you're okay with them breaking in and stealing food, or are you okay with breaking in and taking TVs? Because both are illegal. So are we justifying one action
Yes.
to to
Yeah, I'm justifying it.
to make our morals okay? So we're okay with you breaking the law here. We're not okay with you breaking the law here.
Slippery slope be damned. I'm on the issue that if it was food and it was a need and it's a major disaster, some of the rules that govern our societies and points of that time are over. Like I say, I'm not saying surf down the sea with a television, but if you're taking food in the time when you don't have food and the kind of flooding I saw, that's the way I feel. I mean, I'm not going to change it, and I know that I'm not even going to say one is or why. It seems just to me no-brainer. The food was going to, if we didn't get it to the people who needed it, and when people take it, there are always going to be people who abuse the system. There are always going to be people that take more than they need. But that withstanding, I would rather know that someone got the food they need to survive this event than to be like, well, we're going to send. I mean, and in the event that people need assistance in those kind of events, that's why I want our emergency personnel at. I don't want them guarding a store. All this is material stuff. The insurance company is going to pay for it. This is what it comes down to. It's all material. I don't want them guarding the store. I want them. I give it up for the rescue workers that rescued thousands of individuals by helicopter, by boat, whatever they had to do, they did it. So that's why I want law enforcement out doing those rescues, and we'll deal with the stores and all that afterwards.
Right.
How do you feel, Willie?
I believe that desperate times call for desperate measures. I believe it's about survival, and I believe that, I'm justifying one over the other. Yeah.
I mean, I made this statement last night.
Curfew in effect?
I don't know if I took it as stated as PC as I should have, but the truth is that I really believe that the human species, as you said, desperate situations call for desperate measures, that people are really animals. They will do whatever it takes to survive.
Survive, absolutely.
I don't.
Really animals? Are we really animals?
I mean,
I get the sentiment, but
I understand what you're
but
trying
is
to
that
say.
wrong? I mean, not whatever, because there's, I don't know. I don't know. What
it relates.
But the stealing the food, I don't even think that was animalistic as far as it was. Because let's see, if something happens here, our, if you need to secure food, you need to secure water, and not at the expense of someone's life. But if there's if there was a supermarket right out here and something happened, and I'm going to stock up for as much as I can carry for my family, myself, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to have time to take the television. What am I watching on? The power's out, right?
Right.
So I think if you're thinking on that level of survival for yourself and your family, or even those you care about, you might have people at home. Then it's just different. I mean, if I stole a boat because it was just sitting there in the wind and no one was coming by, and I can use that boat to go and save people, I'm gonna do it.
That brings up that good point. During Katrina, there was a gentleman that stole a school bus and went around picking up people in New Orleans.
Yeah,
and took them to, I believe it was Dallas.
Yeah, he didn't steal it. I didn't care if he had a license or not. He didn't steal it to me.
And that was my whole thing, because they did charge him with the theft. I don't know what happened with that case. I would have personally dropped it. I don't agree with him ever being arrested on that.
No.
I mean, to me, he fully loaded a school bus with 75 or 80 people and drove them out of New Orleans during Katrina, right after Katrina.
Right.
So, because the reason I asked that was because during my philosophy class at USN last semester, that was actually brought up. Was, okay, if you have a hurricane, is it illegal to break into the store or not? Like, are you okay with it or not? And that was actually one of the questions. And some people said yes, some people said no.
As long as it's not Best Buy, fine.
I also find there's a situation with this that a lot of people that have not been through that experience,
Right.
like I've seen a lot of people commenting that they're like, well, they shouldn't do this. There's they shouldn't break in somewhere, okay? And then I was like, well, there's 4 feet of water there, Like last night, like when the story came out of the shootings, I was like, well, the story was that the boats were leaving, or the boats were broke down, and that they were leaving the people.
Mhm.
That was the story. So you have these desperate people that are about to feel like they're going to drown. They've been stuck in 4 feet of water for over 24 hours to 48 hours at this period of time. And here you have this boat that could save your life. I mean, if it was true, which it's not, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, if it's not, I don't know how to respond to that hypothetical in the fact that, because I still wouldn't understand shooting at the boat if it was true. I wouldn't understand that. So if it would, this is a bad situation, don't get me wrong. And I know we're sitting here and we don't have all the answers, but I believe the dialogue starts. And because this could have been us. We live on the coast easily. Harvey could have made a couple of degrees of turn, and we could be inundated with the same 51 inches of water.
And we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
We would not have been able to handle it probably as well as Phoenix.
Oh, no.
As Houston, especially without governor. So having said that, I don't know the answer, but I just know that I'm okay with the food. And that's all. I'm okay with food. I'm okay with diapers. I'm okay with anything, medicine. I'm okay with anything that it took to survive long enough to get help.
Absolutely.
So what's your, they're asking for help, and the National Guard's there. And my question is, with 45 and the transgender military ban, they just had a freeze on it. They don't know where it's heading. I believe Mathis ordered the freeze on it. Says,
well, technically he did.
Okay.
But we'll get to that. Go ahead.
So my question is we need as much help as we can during these times. Yet we have a person in charge, 45 in charge of the military, who is trying to disassemble the military. In so many words.
Well, let's see. I don't know if I'm the best person to talk about 45 because I'm kind of biased. I don't like him. But even objectively looking at some of the things that he's trying to attempt with no major legislation passed in 7 months. And I think it's diversiveness. I think it is intentional. I look at, we talk about the ban that he announced on the same day he decided to pardon Joe Arpaio while a hurricane is bearing down on Texas at the same time. And I look at these issues and I was like, and I look at what Mathis said today, and people think it's a freeze, but it's not a freeze because actually, number one, they're not going to have a plan in place until next year, February. February 12th, I believe, 2018.
To what?
To how you're going to deal with transgender servicemen that are already in. It's not like, okay, tomorrow all the transgender servicemen or women are being put out in the military. They have to come up with a plan about what are you going to do. And that goes into place. The plan has to be submitted by February. And then the plan is started to be carried out by March.
Okay.
So this is politics. A lot can change in that time.
Yeah, exactly.
This is just he formalized his tweet into a memo. So this is how we make policy today in this country.
Twitter, folks.
Twitter. And who knew when Twitter was created that it would become the policy maker? This is how you get policy out. Just tweet something, okay? Take a moment, 140 characters, it's policy. So he had to take that tweet and make it formal with a memo, and he did that on Friday. Also, like I said, while hurricane was bearing down. And you look at these things that he's doing, and you can't help but to say, say it was in the betterment of the military, but I was in the military. And you get to the point where in a foxhole, if you have my back, I don't care who you're dating when you get out. I don't care who you're dating before you came in. I don't care what you call yourself. Long as you got my back, it's all good. And that's what the military builds. That's what kind of environment it fosters. It fosters that ability. People say disruptive. Yeah, that's the same argument we made, when people of color first integrated into the military.
That's a
It's
good point.
disruptive thing. We're all grown. We get over it and we move on. My thing has always been gay marriage, transgender. If you don't like a transgender person, don't marry one. If you don't like gay marriage, don't marry a gay person, and live your life.
Basically, you're saying do your job, and then when you get out, like,
I'm saying that you're going to do your job regardless. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times have you seen, a transgender person, make news because they didn't want to do their job because they had nails to do or get hair? No, that's just the same thing. I'm in the military. You are a woman or a man, and you're going to do that, but your job is this, and that. There was a Navy SEAL. I forgot the name.
Crystal Beck? I'm friends with her.
Yeah, and
I know who you're
extraordinary career.
Yeah, I love her.
And then it's like all of a sudden it's like, is that wiped away because you're transgender? The accomplishments are still the same. The Purple Heart is still the same. You earned those serving this country.
And and that's the thing. I have a lot of friends that are in the military. I have a lot of transgender friends that are in the military with top security clearances. And I stop and think about what it costs to train these folks to get to the position they are in the military. And I'm like, so because they are trans, you're going to kick them out. You spend, I guarantee, it has to be at least $3 million to train these people. I mean, I don't even know, because actually somebody made a quote the other day saying that training people is the cheapest cost of an employee at a corporation or business. And I have always been told that the most expensive part is the training, because you have an employee sitting there that is learning the processes, learning the procedures, learning the regulations, and they're not making no money. They're not doing anything for you at that period of time.
Okay. And like I say, my issue is that I just believe 45 is diversity. And aside from trying to undo everything that President Obama did during his tenure, I believe he has no agenda. I mean, let's be real. Let's go down this list. All right. There's not going to be a wall paid for by Mexico.
No.
It's just not going to
It's
happen.
not happening.
It's not happening. The president of
I mean,
Mexico
it's not
told
happening.
you.
I was impressed with Mexico for offering to come help.
Yeah.
I want to give Mexico props on that.
Yeah, they're not they're not building the wall that they're paying for. They're building the wall the American people are paying for. I had an interesting conversation today. I'm going to bring this up. I was talking to a Trump supporter, and I asked him, I said, what is it that at this point, what is it that you still support? And the answer kind of blew me away, right? Because we were talking, and I listed off all the things he had not done that he said he was going to do, and they were like, this is what they told me. He says, we just wanted somebody who would try. We don't care if he accomplishes anything that he said he was going to accomplish. We just want to see him try to accomplish the things he said he was going
What
to
is he supposed to be trying?
And that's what I was like. He's like, well, I don't care. And then they told me, I said, you mean to tell me you don't care about your president accomplishing anything? You just want a president that is going to try to accomplish something.
Well, actually, I take that. You know what? He has tried and he has succeeded. You know what he has done? Divided the country. Because he has started the outspoken KKK now. They feel embedded by him. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. He has got Nazis who are an American enemy, or so-called Nazis.
The same, you could call them together.
He's saying,
Yeah.
but he's gave them the permission to come out of the woodwork. So he has done what he said he was going to do. He ran his campaign on this. He ran his campaign on hate.
Right.
So for anybody to act surprised that there are rallies out there with the KKK and Nazis at this period of time, I don't get it.
Well, no, I think there is some surprise because there's not probably any surprise among people that support you, but the normal people in this country are at the point of saying that, really, is this? And as a person of color, I tell you, racism has never gone anywhere in this country. The 8 years of President Obama, people act like we lived in a colorblind society, and I address that in one of my issues because I don't want a colorblind society. I want you to recognize that I am a man of color, and I'm proud of that. Melinda, and you're who you are.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why I shouldn't have to see that because once I see that and I recognize that, I also can identify with who you are in the society. The color of my skin has affected where I have been and the things I've accomplished in the eyes of others and what I had to go through to accomplish those things. And I'm insulted when people tell me, "Oh, I don't see color. I don't have," and I'm like, "Oh, so you don't acknowledge me?
Right.
You don't acknowledge what is it like to live in a world where you see only white?
Right.
You know, you don't acknowledge my suffering, my pain, and my struggles because you live in a colorblind society and you think that's okay with me. I never."
Well, that's a
asked anybody.
justification to just get around that they're racist. Is all it is because it's.
The racists are stupid. I don't really care.
I don't agree with them, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, their mentality is coming from, well, if I don't see you're Hispanic or I don't see you're African American, well then everybody's white and your issues don't, like you said, don't exist.
Don't exist. And that's the word. That's the ultimate whitewash is when you say I don't see race.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking earlier about heritage, right?
Right.
And I like that. It's like it's okay to be who we are. You know, I don't believe that it ever gets to the point where it's like, oh, I have to not see your color. I mean, and it's a conversation. The diversity that we experience is interesting. It's beautiful in its light. I mean, but that does not give you the right to whitewash my history or whitewash who I am by saying I don't see color. Well, what do we, you know, you don't accept me for a friend. That's like, okay, I don't acknowledge transgender people. I don't acknowledge, because part of that acknowledgement is to say, I understand, I might not be there, but I understand that you're going through a lot of systemic issues because of who you are. And I will not belittle your going through those issues because I don't want to see your gender. I don't want to see, you know, we don't live in that society, and that society is not even a safe place to live in. So that's my statement on the fact of colorblind Caucasian.
What is your statement on this?
On what I'm the colorblind.
Yeah.
I believe just as teenagers I believe that you should recognize that I am a woman of color myself and that I am Latina. And saying that this world or we don't see color is basically saying, well, I don't acknowledge the issues that you face every day and struggle with. And that's a cop-out. That's a cop-out for anybody who says that. That they don't want to acknowledge or face the fact that, hey, we live in a racist society and systematic racism exists as well.
Yeah. And like I said, when you don't acknowledge that, you devalue the struggle.
And you can't get to the root cause of the problem, you can't fix anything.
Right. If you don't even willing to admit that there's a problem,
Right.
then how are you going to even begin to address the problem? When we talk about privilege, and it's a privilege to be colorblind. You know?
Right.
I cannot afford to get up one morning and get in my car and drive without a tail light and be like, oh, I'm colorblind. Yeah, okay. And you know, we live in a society where I'm sorry, and I will say this, and people don't like it when I say this, and it's not an indictment of all police officers, but it is just something in the culture that we are treated differently because of the color of our skin. And to not acknowledge that is dangerous for me.
It is.
It is dangerous. And for you, it is dangerous. It's not as dangerous for you. And I'm not begrudging you that right.
No.
But
Actually, you know what's dangerous for me is to drive through the white part of Rankin County. I mean, as a trans woman, you know, drive to Rankin County. But you know, it's different.
Yeah, it's different. It is different.
But I agree with everything you said. I mean, sitting back and actually watching and knowing a lot of the police officers in the area, a lot of the illegal people in this area, I've heard stories. You know, I've heard stories where they will watch out for Biloxi PD has watched out for one particular black man, you know, because they knew he didn't have a license, so they would just target him, even if somebody else was driving.
Right.
You know, they would just, you know, I've heard stories of, you know, Gulfport PD profiling people.
Right.
You know, I was just
It happens. But
and
now
they profile them, they'll pull them over and then threaten them and say, well, I'm going to send somebody to your house. And then these people are so terrified of what this officer just said that they move out of their apartment like in a hurry because they're like, well, now ICE is going to come knocking on my door. He didn't call ICE while he pulled me over, but he just threatened me that he's going to send somebody to go looking for me. So now I got to move.
Right. And it goes back to the pardoning of Joel Pye. That's the whole thing. You pardon a man that basically, and don't start with me, I'm not even going to look at the comment section. Don't start with me about every president pardons people and they all commit crimes. That's true. But we get to the point, it's who you, and most presidents also wait to the end of their term to do controversy.
Right.
True.
Right. I'm not even looking at that comment. But I look at the fact that you pardon a man in this racial climate that is basically a profiler, defying federal law about not profiling and on his treatment of immigrants, and you pardon this man not after he was sentenced, but before he was even
But
sentenced.
you haven't even heard the best part yet.
Yeah.
He hasn't been sentenced yet. He has made a motion to have his guilty verdict vacated.
Right, because that's what the
Because of the pardon.
Right.
But
Instead of and that's an excuse, he's an 85-year-old man and all the compassion. I said, so well, is this the point where all people over the age of 80 are getting pardons that are in prison now? Or we get to that point where, okay, we're just gonna pardon everybody over 80 in prison.
as long as you're cisgender white male.
Right.
And that's it. I mean, or
I'm going to just say it like it is.
Or you, yeah, and that's it. So we have to deal with the fact that that's why I say this president is so divisive, because if you wanted to pardon Ohio, number one, you could have just commuted his sentence after he got it,
Mhm.
which people who don't understand that's what happened to Chelsea Manning.
Yep.
President Obama didn't pardon Chelsea Manning; he just commuted the sentence.
Yep.
So that was an option. But to do it in this racially charged climate, this soon after Charlottesville and during a hurricane, speaks volume of who this man is.
Mm-hmm.
It speaks volumes about who 45 is, about this is the time and this is the person he chose to pardon at this time. And all the other things that are going on, this sends a twofold message. This is a message that, hey, you can treat our federal immigration laws any way you want to. Just keep profiling, I'll take care of it later. And it sends the message like, hey, if you stand with me, then if you get in a little trouble because of it, I will pardon.
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to upset a lot of people.
So we're here for it.
I have spoken to a lot of people, and a lot of people think that President Trump has dementia or he's mentally ill in some way. And not to be funny,
Yeah,
because if you look at McCain, when McCain had his symptoms
of a brain tumor.
or brain tumor,
Right.
he was slurring his speech, he was having trouble speaking. Okay? And if you go back and you actually watch Trump throughout the last 15 years, you can see it progressing. There's something like, there's just something there that mentally he's just not. And I question his capability of being president.
Okay. Who you want this one first, or you want me to take it?
I mentioned his game, but
I mean, I feel like there's something mental.
I'm gonna let you
I mean, like,
tag. You can have this first.
No,
Go
you
on. Okay.
I questioned that from the very beginning, and I didn't understand why anybody. And at the very beginning of his campaign, when he came out and said that he was running for office for president, I thought it was a joke, right? I really, really did, and I didn't take it seriously, and I was so certain that he was not going to win, even like the primary. I was so certain that he could not, and I was like, wow, now we really got to fight, and he still won. So I mean. Yeah, so it's his mental capacity or capability.
I mean, do you think it's dementia, Alzheimer's? He is, 72 years old right now? 70, 72, somewhere around
No,
there?
I just believe that this is who he is, and that's it.
That's it. Thank you. I mean, I'm not finding an
I'm not
excuse.
giving him a cop out.
Yeah, I'm not giving. Mental illnesses are serious in this country,
Yes.
and I refuse
Yes.
to allow 45, or even the thought of 45 being. He's crazy to me,
Mhm.
but it's not a mental illness to me. He's a
Right.
narcissistic, sociopathic individual, and he has been, even during the time in New York when he's kicked older people out of their apartments to build high rises.
Sure.
I think, there is, this man, to me, you all talk about that, he's been the same to me ever since I've known him. And now, he has been around all my life.
What about the fact that he says something and then completely forgets he says it, or he said
He doesn't forget. This is what happens. What you see when he tweets and what he does when he's off prompter, that is who we have as president.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since Kelly has gotten in there and tried to get him on prompter, and other people are trying to get him on prompter, well, that's why we get these speeches that one after the fact we get how he really feels, and then a couple of days later, once people don't rein him in and say, okay, you're going to go out there, you're going to speak on this, and this is what you're going to say, that's not who we have in office. That's the puppet, but that's not who we have. Who we have is the Trump that gives the first speech. Who we have is the Trump that at 2 o'clock in the morning is picking fights with news reporters.
Right.
That's our president. Our president is petty, our president is narcissistic, and our president has small hands. Yeah.
Okay, I want to give Melinda some time to speak. There's some new things coming on, events coming up, and I want to give the opportunity. So I'm going to let Melinda.
Okay. So Mira and El Pueblo are coming together to bring this community learning Spanish class. So anybody who's wanting to learn conversational Spanish can come to El Pueblo on September the 5th. It's our first day of class. It's from 6 to 8. We'll be having this class take place every Tuesday and Thursday. And the address to the location is 856 Division Street in Biloxi. That's at the office of El Pueblo. And basically, we're going to be learning together as a community. We have the Spanish speakers who are learning English. It's an ESL class, and they'll be learning English, and we'll be sitting in with them within the first hour, one-on-one. We'll get to conversate. So it'll force us to practice what we're learning with each other, right? And I think it's going to be really, really great. It's the first time of its kind ever here on COSA, and we're really excited.
And I'm excited about it because I'm taking Spanish 101 at USM right now, and
¿Hablo español?
yeah, no
Más o menos español.
Yes, más o menos.
So I got to tell my Spanish teacher, I was letting her know about it. And so, because she takes the class a lot of times and meets them off campus, like their coffee, and they have conversational speeches. And I thought she'd be a great resource for that. So, do you need help, like, for the Spanish-speaking people to learn English? Is there an opportunity for people as natural-speaking people to help with that? Or is it going to be a help? How is it going to be?
Yes, there is actually, there's a volunteer opportunity within taking this class, right? So basically, yes, they do need help, and this is going to work, like I said, it's going to be one-on-one, working with each other. So that's going to be very great, right? So that's going to help. But yeah, I mean, we already have a teacher. So we already have English teachers teaching English to Spanish speakers.
Mm-hmm.
But we also need Spanish speakers teaching Spanish to English speakers, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to say that twice as fast.
So I found when I was teaching English at one point to Spanish speakers that it was very easy for me to be a non-good service to my students because I am bilingual. So if they had a question, they'd ask me in Spanish because they knew they can do that, and I would answer in Spanish. Not doing them a good service, right? So I learned that I cannot teach the English class to Spanish speakers because they will feel like that they should be able to talk to me in Spanish. So and then teaching Spanish to English speakers would be the same problem for me because I am bilingual, right? So yeah, I mean, there's an opportunity there for you to help within the English class if you're an English speaker, but also if you know Spanish speakers that are willing to partake in the class and teach, so but like I said, it's gonna be very conversational, also like very emergency, like do you need help? Learn how to say, do you need help? How can I help you? Things like that.
Is there any kind of fees? Like,
it's absolutely free.
Okay.
Absolutely free.
So how long is it? From September 5th to? Or is it open day right now?
It isn't open right now. I want to say it's for 9 months. So
9 months? You want me to come for 9 months?
Well, I believe that's how long their English courses, and then they take like school, right? Like regular school.
Child in 9 months.
And there's also a volunteer opportunity because they have El Pueblito, which is these young kids, right? Actually, the kids of the parents that go learn English, and so they take them off to the side, do homework with them, read books with them. So anybody who is willing to do hands-on hand work with these children is more than welcome to come sign up for a volunteer with the children as well, and
Okay.
for that time period as well. And it's really great. It's a great opportunity to work with kids as well. And also, these kids are also learning English themselves because they come from Spanish-speaking homes. So it's a great opportunity for you to practice your Spanish as well in English. And it's really great.
That's really cool.
I like that.
And so
Like that.
also, I'd
Glad
like
people be there.
yes.
Mhm.
So also, I'd like to say that so with all the things that are going on right now, all the actions right that are happening across the state, especially in the Gulf Coast area and Central Mississippi. Mira has a textically that will be giving out alerts that we're going to be participating in certain events. So if y'all would take your phones out right now and open your messaging app, right, and text 33222, and in the message put MIRA, which is Mira, and that will allow you to receive alerts. And also, if you want to report something to Mira, you can actually use 33222 Mira and to report to Mira as well.
Okay.
So our Twitter handle is also at Mira Struggle, and that's our Instagram handle as well. So anything, and our Facebook page is the Mississippi Immigrant Rights Alliance.
We do have a Twitter for Free Zone With.
We do.
Yes, we do.
We have Twitter.
We have Twitter. We're not going to create federal policy through Twitter. We do have
She's not going to create federal policy.
we have the YouTube
Twitter.
live video that will be up after. I ran a camera short this time. I apologize for that. And the podcast is up at freezonewith at podbean.com. And as I said, we are following the Facebook feed off of the Free Zone With and off T. Nathan's post so that we can see and we can respond to you live. If you all have any questions, just let us know. And I think that's about it. Do you have anything else?
I got 10 minutes. I can talk. Okay. It's not so much. I'm also want to put out there that the South Mississippi AIDS Task Force, which I am a board member and vice president until the end of the year, not the president. We're also back in Mississippi. Please reach out to us. Contact me, inbox me on my Facebook page or on the Free Zone With page, either one of them, or the Twitter page. While I'm making policy on there. And we're really going to become active in the community. For y'all who don't know, the Mississippi State Department of Health and their Infinite Wisdom has decided to charge $25 for STD testing and AIDS testing. So last cycle, we watched the numbers and reported AIDS cases here on the coast skyrocket across the state. We're up. So we need to take this seriously. You see, I got my red band on. Okay, SEC. So we are going to take this seriously. We're going to get back out there. We're getting awareness started. We're going to help set up a page for donations. If you want to send donations, if you want to be a part of what we're doing, let us know. We have a walk coming up.
What was the page for donations?
We haven't set the page up yet, but you will see it. I'll post everything on our different social media platforms. But what we're getting to is that we're here to provide awareness. We're here to offer assistance. You know, if you're living with HIV or you know someone is living with HIV and they need assistance, please contact me. Like I said, you have all the multimedia platforms that we have. I will get the message. I will get back with you. But definitely contact me, and I will be putting out information about what's coming up and events that we're going to be involved in. I want to reach out to Just Us and SIPS and have them on board also so we can get the message spread in their communities. But we're here. And I keep saying HIV is one of the diseases that is easiest to prevent with a proper awareness. So we're trying to get that awareness out there to all the communities. And if you have any ideas about how you can reach out or how you want to help, please contact me. I'm all for help. All right.
I do want to jump in here real quick with that and give a shout out to the Lighthouse Community Church that meets actually right where we are right now, and they have a Facebook page. If we go there, they are open to everybody and anybody, completely accepting. I run the Facebook Live video so that if you're not able to make it to church, if you go log on to the Lighthouse Community Church, there is a broadcast on there. And I do want to bring up no, I'm not going to bring it up today. No, it's
Don't you
too
hate when people do that? They're gonna bring something up and then
well,
they don't bring
you
it
know,
up.
I did want to.
Yeah,
I did
where
want
do we
to.
do this at?
I
Right
did want.
here.
I did want to bring up the Confederate flag issue on the USM campus. In
We don't
Hattiesburg.
have enough time left on the broadcast for that.
We'll talk about it next week. I am waiting for the dean of students from Hattiesburg to respond to me, and I have not heard a phone call back yet. I will be calling him tomorrow, because I don't know who the dean of students is at this moment. And there's a lot of people waiting for the response. I have been in contact with them. It's been 3 days. They're supposed to call me back, and they have not called me back. So
Counter protests are happening
Every
actually,
Sunday.
Every Sunday. So please join them there. I think it's every Sunday at 2:00 is when they start.
yes.
Let's show our numbers and show our unity against this.
And please be safe. There are, just be safe. It could get heated out there. Just don't respond to them directly. We want everybody to have the right to voice their opinion, and for us to be able to voice our opinion at that location at this period of time. There is speak of preventing the protest from happening at that location. So that might be happening here in the future, that there will be nobody allowed to protest the Confederate flag. That has not been announced yet.
Yeah, I will stop protesting once it's come down.
So, well, it's not up.
It's not a.
US
I'm
doesn't
not
have
about across the state.
Oh, okay.
Well,
yeah.
yeah. But I do give you some props on that, and I wanted to thank Dr. Bristol for everything he does. I did want to give him a shout out because he does a lot for community, even though he's not necessarily public with everything. So, anyways, that's the end of that. Anybody else have anything to say?
One more.
I'm gonna say thank
Okay.
you.
I want to end on this note. You know, freedom of speech is not absolute. Remember that. But it is a weapon that we can use in the oppression of all people. Contact your senators, your representatives, your mayors, your elected officials, and voice your opinion to them. You cannot blame government for not including you when you don't include yourself in the dialogue that is government. Reach out to them, let them know how you feel, and if they don't feel the way you do, and you feel like they're not taking you seriously, well, there's an election, and we will band together and put people there that believe like we believe and want the things we want. That is the ultimate respect. That is what, for me, this is what this show is about. This is about empowering you to understand that there is avenues to change. And if we don't take those avenues to change, it is nobody's fault but our own. Thank you. And on that note, we're out of here. Join us next week. We'll see you all. Thank you all.
Thank you
Have a
all.
nice night.
You have a nice night. Thank you.
Ah.